So for those of you that are starting your clinical rotation and you're scared out of your freaking mind, this video is for you. So basically, I've never had a bad clinical experience. And I think a lot of that has to do with prayer. Because I've always prayed for, God, please let me have somebody that's nice, that's not going to treat me like, mean or anything. So, but really, yes, I really do pray about it. But my actions, I try to get them in check. I have this little thing when it comes to clinical about making sure that my preceptor knows that I'm present and I'm interested and that I want to learn. And a few months back, I posted something on Instagram and Facebook, like a cute little video, just about, getting the most out of your clinical experience. Be present. And when I say that, what I mean is, you don't have any patients this particular day that you're in clinical. That doesn't mean that you can study for the test that's going to take, the quiz, exam that's going to take place tomorrow. I always felt uncomfortable doing that because I felt like, is my preceptor going to be looking at me like she's taking advantage of this situation? Look at her over there studying. Instead, there's no patients right now. Everyone's kind of sitting around. I will go and help the medical assistants tidy up the rooms. If my patient has left and that's like the last patient, I will start tidying up the room myself. That time when there's no patients, I utilize it by asking my preceptor questions about patient care. How do you get through your day? Do you finish your documentation on time? And I'm actually taking notes. I have like a little notepad and I'm writing everything down. When I walk into the clinical area, when I walk into my clinical rotation, of course you're going to introduce yourself and then you're going to be prepared. I always had my resources, and if you're interested in what resources I took, it was basically if you go back to my video about what's in a nurse practitioner's bag, the SOAP book, SOAP, that book, Family Practice Soap Medicine, I used that when I was in the rotation for OB. I used the OB soap book. When I was in the pediatric rotation, I used the pediatric soap book. But keep in mind that they are like older. I think they were published in 2004. So I never looked at treatments in those books. I just looked at the documentation and like what labs should I order and how I should assess the patient. But I didn't go by the treatments, because if you look at the treatment for like gonorrhea, I think it says ceftriaxone 125, but it's ceftriaxone 250. And the azithromycin is there. But yeah, so don't look at the treatments because it's an older book. But anyway, take your resources, and I'll do a video on the resources that I took to my clinical rotation. Anyway, have a pen, have a notebook that you can take notes and your resources, because if your preceptor asks you a question, never say, I don't know. You're going to look at your apps, your Hippocrates app or your UpToDate app, or all these thousands of apps you could use that can guide you in the right direction. And then you have your resources. So if you don't know right off the top of your head, I would say, oh, give me a moment, let me look this up, because I want to make sure that I answer you correctly. So we don't have to know everything. We just need to know where to find the answers. So it's all about being engaged, being present, asking questions, taking notes, and being polite and being professional. And I was very helpful, and I wanted to learn everything, and everybody knew that. Every clinical rotation I went to, from all the way from doing the licensed practical nursing program to grad school, every clinical rotation I've gone to, everyone has known that I was interested in learning and that I wanted to know and see everything I possibly could. And I'll give you guys an example. At my pediatric rotation, we were all in the area where the students are, and there weren't any patients. So we, me and some other students had already tidied up and everything, and we were just kind of waiting for the next patient. There were patients coming and being triaged, and no one else needed help. So we're there, and so one of the medical students came in and said, the doctor said, does anyone want to see does anyone want to see this particular skin disorder? And I almost fell over, like, oh, I do. And so he looks at me and he smiles and says, oh yeah, the doctor said you definitely want to see it. That said a lot. It spoke volumes, because it's, that's what I was known for. A lot of times I would stand out in the hallway, just, does anyone need anything? So not in a pesty way. I mean, I made sure that I wasn't a pest, like always running in behind my preceptor, like, hey, do you got... I just, you have to have the balance. I had it balanced where I was interested, I was present, I was professional, I was knowledgeable, I was asking questions and taking notes, but not too much where my preceptor would be like, I'm so tired of her. She's running behind me all the time. So you just have to have balance. And, have fun. You're learning and you're going to be doing this on your own, so you have to soak it all in. And so I keep everything. So I still have the notebooks that I use for every clinical rotation. So I got these books. From Target. And the cover is like really hard and sturdy, and inside you can see how I was taking my notes. I did a soap note for every single patient I saw. Now, yes, I could have made like a soap note and just filled in the information, but I purposefully wrote out each soap note because that just ingrained it in my mind. So let me see here. This one was this one was my family practice notebook, and I was just really diligent about writing everything down. I had the CPT codes. I cut this out from the clinical spot, and I put it here in the inside of my book. And then these are all my soap notes. And then when I went to, this was also family practice as well. Family practice, I ended up using like 2 of these, but what I really liked most about this is that this is like really hard, and I really like that. And in the back, I kind of wrote my off quotes in the back, and that really helped when I went in to see the patient if I needed that. And so both of these were family practice, and this one was pediatrics. This one was OB/GYN, little red one, and I kind of kept from papers that I got from there. Yeah, I really like that rotation. Anyway, as you can see, I keep everything. So my entire clinical experience, almost 700 hours of clinical time, is right here. And believe it or not, one of my preceptors is a physician, and has been for 20 years. And I learned so much from him. I need to call him. I really need to call him. And I will go back sometimes and look at my notes, look at some of the patients that we did together. And, you know, yeah, I really, really still look through these sometimes when I get time. The only other thing I'm going to add, go ahead and go back to my video, one of my first videos, what's in a nurse practitioner's bag? Because those things were things that I used in clinical as well as my resources. The only new thing that I would suggest that you take to clinical that I didn't know about when I was in clinical is the Family Practice Guidelines book that I rave about all the time. I've done a video about this, so you guys can go back to the video to see if you will be interested in the book, but I don't know who wouldn't. This book is amazing, but I've already talked about it. It's like in another video. It's in the January favorites video. That's the video that I talk about practice guidelines. And the only other thing I would suggest would be one of these pocket guides, either Fairy's Practical Guide or the Pocket Primary Care. I personally like the pocket guide better, but this has things in it that I like as well, so I take both of them to work. But I really, really like the Pocket Primary Care Guide, and what I love about Fairy's Practical Guide, the one thing that I love about this guide, and this is the reason why I take it to work, is because there's this little section in here that's all about differential diagnosis, and it's amazing. So chapter 2, the differential diagnosis, zebras or horses. That's bomb, okay? It tells you like all of the potential differential diagnosis. So if you look at abdominal distension, then it talks about what it could be. Like, and this is literally how many pages of differential diagnosis on everything. From page 35 to 52, all differential. And yeah, so that's about it. I hope this helps someone, and I will do a video if you guys want me to. Leave it in the comments below on the resources that I used for my clinical rotations and the resource I used when our school went to Johns Hopkins and we had a mock patient, and our instructors had to watch us take care of a mock patient, and we had to document on the mock patient, and other students watched us take care of the mock patient. So I had resources for that as well. That was scary, but we got through it. I hope this helped you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Love you. Bye.